I am Dr. Kelly Coles, and I'm the president of the Ohio School Board Leadership Council. I'm here today to tell you why Ohio School Board Leadership Council exists and what we have in plans for our future. When I was sworn in as a new school board member, I was immediately whisked away to a weekend where the professional organization that coaches school board members taught me how to be a good school board member. In that teaching, I was told that I should do what I am told by my superintendent and treasurer, that I should present a united front, that I should be a cheerleader for my district, and I should never air dirty laundry. I'm not sure what all that meant, but it meant that I was supposed to do things that I wasn't wired to do. I left that weekend knowing that I was not going to be a good school board member according to their definition. I believe that my responsibilities are to the taxpayers and to the students in our district, and not to misrepresent the facts of the district, but to be honest about the facts of the district. I believe that the professional coaches that we hire with taxpayer dollars is telling school board members how to do their job, and it's very different from what the taxpayers believe our job is. I believe that the Ohio School Board Leadership Council was formed particularly to help educate citizens and school board candidates and school board members about what our job really is. And it is to be honest about the issues facing education. They are issues such as funding, spending, and accountability. They are issues that have been in the state of Ohio for a number of years, but has not been discussed in the public. School board members need to hold their school district personnel accountable to all of the standards set in policy, set in procedures. To do this, school board members need to be free to ask lots of questions, to dive into the details, to make sure that people are listening to the message of the taxpayers. The taxpayers are simply asking for the best education that their money buys. However, what school board members have typically been used for is to promote levies, is to say yes to every initiative that comes across the table at them. This is depicted by many programs in many places.
Hello, my name is Warren Edstrom. I'm Vice President of the Ohio School Board Leadership Council. One of the things that I'd like to speak to is the difference between public service unions and private sector unions. In the private sector, you have two people at the negotiating table. You have management and you have labor. Management is interested in keeping its profits high, keeping its stockholders paid, and in expanding its markets. The union, on the other hand, is interested in getting wages, higher wages, and better benefits for their members. In the public sector, you have four people involved, not two. You have the government entity that's doing the negotiating. It's supposed to be representing the taxpayer. You have the union and possibly a moderator or a negotiator. One of the problems that we have in the public sector is that the people that aren't at the table in the negotiation process are the taxpayers. They're the ones that are picking up the bill, and they have no say-so in the negotiating process. In the education system, we have a rather unique situation in that the taxpayer is a constituent of the school board as well as the students. The administration and the teachers are really employees of the school board, and the school board is the government entity that represents the taxpayers. When we negotiate, here again, the taxpayer is not at the table, and we're supposed to be representing the taxpayers. Now, I think as Kelly spoke to, one of the difficulties we have in the education system is that the administration and the union are a lot of times on the same page, because when the taxpayers end up paying the bill on this thing, the administration wants a pay raise right along with the union. So one of the difficulties we have is that a lot of the professional organizations that are supposed to be supporting the actual school board aren't necessarily looking out for the taxpayer. They're looking out more for the administration and the unions.
Hi, my name is Doug Lasser. I'm with Ohio School Board Leadership Council. I'm one of the board of directors there. I just want to talk a little bit about why OSBLC, why I believe OSBLC is needed within the education community right now. I think most of us get the importance that education is for our students. We understand that educating our kids and preparing them for the future is vital to the success of our country. Yet, despite all the efforts to improve education, we continue to come up short in America. And it just doesn't seem to make sense to me that in a country where we seem to excel at everything that we put our minds to, that for whatever reason we can't get it right when it comes to education. And so, you know, the natural thing is just to ask why. And I think, you know, my beliefs are that the reasons we've come up short is we've departed from the principles that have made this country great. You know, competition, free markets, accountability, those things are all absent in the education community. And I believe the reason for that is the education establishment has convinced most of us for a while that those things just don't work in education.
Hi, my name is John Llewellyn. I am a board member for the Ohio School Board Leadership Council, and I live in the Dayton, Ohio area. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about our organization. In my home school district, I have 2 children, a 6th grader and a 2nd grader, and I'm very concerned about their future. And I believe that the Ohio School Board Leadership Council or a national School Board Leadership Council will help parents, it'll help kids, and it'll help taxpayers. And I want to spend just a couple minutes sharing with you how I think that'll happen. I think it'll help parents because we will advocate for things like school choice, things that'll help parents be able to make decisions for their kids' education rather than fight districts to try to just do basic improvements for their kids. I think it'll help taxpayers because perhaps levies will be less common because our organization will try to work with school boards to foster children's first type budgeting ideas, things that put kids first instead of adults perhaps, or instead of perks. And I think it'll help kids because in my home district where I live, when a levy's on the ballot, the kids are worried about it. They're concerned. The issue of the levy is on their mind all the time. It's plugged into them at school with staff and teachers, and things are brought home to share with parents. And I don't think kids should be worried about money. They should be worried about learning. So I think if this organization were to be given a chance to be thrown out on a national level, that all those things would be improved. Education has to get better if we're doing something to impact in a positive way parents, taxpayers, and kids.
Education in the state of Ohio is broken. It is incumbent upon school board members to be honest with the taxpayers and the citizens of Ohio and the students about these failures. We need to let them know that we have deficiencies and that we need to address those deficiencies. The current system is set up to promote adults first and not children first. The Ohio School Board Leadership Council is set up to think of children first. We believe that the system that currently exists in the state of Ohio is adults first, and that is because the system is a monopoly. Competition will be what cures what ails education. That competition can happen in many forms. Charter schools, private schools, homeschools are all opportunities that children should have, and parents should have choices about those opportunities. We do foster an environment that encourages school board members to make sure that the best public education that we can provide is provided. We believe that much of that will be done with school choice. We also believe that we need to talk to the legislators about the issues in education and maybe help them decide how to address those issues. The Ohio School Board Leadership Council is made up of school board members from across the state who believed that we were being coached in ways that were not helpful to student learning. We believe that this is a national problem, that school board members are being coached to do things that are not, again, in the best educational interest of our students. We need to take our message, our methodology, our policies, our procedures, our legislative input national. Nationally, education is failing. Our country is doing poorer than we've ever done in the global setting in education. We need to change that picture. We need all school boards and people within the educational system to be educated about our issues and start at least a dialogue on how to address those issues. We no longer need to ignore them. We need to bring them to the forefront. Ohio School Board Leadership Council and our affiliates believe that a national organization would help everyone get on the same page and address the issues of education and the monopoly that exists in education today. We can hold districts accountable to be transparent only if they have to compete for that student. Only if the money follows the student would they have to produce their results, publish their results, and indicate where their failings are and address those failings. Also, the financial responsibilities would be very different. If you have to prove that you provide the best academic success for the least amount of cost, there's a very different picture than a monopoly. I am very enthusiastic about the Ohio School Board Leadership Council and the National School Board Leadership Council that we would like to go forward to form, because I believe that this organization on a larger scale can impact the quality of education across this country. I believe that we can take back the first place that we should be in. We already spend more than any other nation in education. I believe that we need the accountability to follow that, and we need competition. Thank you.